Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of JKL Media. And this is an extra special episode. It's going to be a cross episode. It's going to be also an installment of the Stephen King podcast. And as usual, have my regular host with me, the J for Jesse,
Hello.
the K for Karen,
Hello.
and the L is doing double duty today. It stands for me, Lou, and also for Lilja. And that is Hans Lilja of Lilja's Library. Hello, Hans.
Hello, hello. Nice to be here.
It's awesome to have you back, sir. It's been a while. Of course, for those of you
Yes,
that,
yes.
those handful of listeners out there that may have listened to our previous podcast, the Stephen King podcast, that me and Hans used to do that together for quite a while. But more importantly, for Hans, he has been running the, I think, undisputed number one Stephen King fan site for almost 30 years now, Hans.
Next year.
Next
Next year
year
it's
coming up in
30 years. Yeah.
Wow. And beyond that, he's stretched into becoming a Stephen King lecturer and book writer as well. So we're going to get into all of that. And then after that, we'll talk about the year of 2025 for Stephen King, which has been another banner year. Pretty good for an old guy. And yeah, so we'll take it from there. Hans, for people that may not know you, why don't you do a little bit of This Is Your Life?
Sure. I started Lilja's Library back in 1996 when there were almost not even images back on the internet. It was skulls revolving and stuff like that. So I've been running it for almost 30 years. Next year will be 30 years. And I run a podcast with Yulu I actually looked that up. I think we ran it between 2012 and 2018. So for 6 years, and we did 93 episodes, I think,
Okay.
where we talked about King, and even more King. Since 2017, I've been regularly doing lectures about Stephen King, mainly in Sweden, where I live. I'm actually going to Czech Republic this upcoming weekend to do a lecture and be at the HorrorCon convention. So that will be interesting.
Nice.
And as you said, I've written books. I've written 6 books. One really old that's basically collecting interviews and reviews I've done on the site. And one that's a trivia book, movie trivia book. And then I did a book when the site celebrated 20 years called Shining in the Dark that collected stories from different authors connected to King in some way and Stephen King himself. And then for the last 3 years, 2023, 24, and 25, I've published one book a year about Stephen King with different focus for each book.
Okay, very good. There's a lot of stuff in there to talk about.
Yeah.
My first question would be, so are you like Joe Hill? Are you promising to deliver a Stephen King book every year?
No. As it feels now, I think I've done my books now.
Okay.
I don't have one planned for the moment,
Okay.
but I've said that before. But I'm not working at one at the moment, at least now.
Okay.
We'll see if something happens.
Man, I don't know where to start with this, but I think
I have a question, if
Jesse.
you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hans, what was the first Stephen King book? And I remember vaguely listening to a couple episodes, Lou, but I'm not. So what was the first book, or when did you first discover Stephen King, and what about him spoke to you? Why this passion?
My first book was actually Carrie, and I was 13 years old. And my parents thought that I read too much comics, and they wanted me to be educated and read books instead. So for some mysterious reason, they bought me Carrie, which might not be the ideal book to start with if you haven't read much books. And I got it for Christmas, and I read it, but I didn't get hooked on it for that book. So I read it and went back to my comics. But then sometime later, I had to do a book review for school. And since I had only read one book by one author, I went to the K in the library and found it. So I read that one, and that's what hooked me. And I think what hooked me and what still hooks me with Stephen King is that he can tell, it's basically 2 things. He can tell a great story, and he creates great characters. And even it doesn't matter if it's a character that's in the book for 2 pages or for 900 pages, he still do the job and create these characters And it doesn't matter if they're good or bad, even if they're really bad and you definitely don't sympathize with them, you can still understand why they do what they do and you get an understanding. And I think those two components is the base of his writing. So I was hooked and I read everything that was translated into Swedish. And by late 90s, early 90s, I had done that. So I read the third Dark Tower book. The first two were translated into Swedish, so I read them. But then I started reading in English, and that was the first English book I read. And when that happened, there were a lot of books that wasn't translated, because at that time it could take a couple of years for a book to be translated into Swedish. Then I read everything that I hadn't read in English, and yeah, rest is history.
That was
I'm
it,
still
as
doing
they
that.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but if someone looks at Stephen King's volume, his output, and go, it's just, it's, I don't even know where to start. Do you have a suggestion on what do you recommend them to start with first?
I actually answer that question with a different question.
Okay.
If you were to ask me which book should I pick, I
Yeah.
would ask you, what kind of books do you like? What genre
Okay.
do you read? And start there, because
Okay.
probably Stephen King has written a book in that genre because he's
Yes,
written in
absolutely.
many genres. So if you like horror, or if you like drama, or you like fantasy, start with one of the books in that category and move from there. I don't
Yeah.
think you can say there's not one book that would work for everyone,
No, I think that's a
because it
good
depends
answer.
on it depends on what you like yourself. Yeah.
Good. I'm just curious if there was a gateway book that you find that a lot of people find. For me, I did not like horror. I still am not a big horror fan. And my friend David Fair, rest in peace, we were best friends. And he said, I got a book for you to read. And I'm like, no, I don't read horror. And he says, look, and he gave me the Dead Zone. And he
Mm.
says, I
Yeah.
need you to read this book. I'm like, okay, MF, you're pulling the friendship card. And that was my gateway. Once I got
Mm.
that, I went, oh my God, these stories are so well done. It they're and we talk about this a lot. It's not a good horror novel. It's a good novel that happens to have horror trends,
Yeah.
themes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
back to
funny that
you,
you
Lou.
said that, Jesse, about the dead zone, because I was going to say, given the climate and the world today, I think actually the dead zone would be a good gateway book for a lot of people.
I think it would be
Yeah.
too.
For
Yes.
certain reasons, if you don't know them by now, then I highly
Yes.
suggest you go read that book.
As as
And
we're recording the day after the latest No Kings.
yes, the
Yes.
King protest. Yes, and
Yeah.
it's October 19th.
Yeah.
And it's funny because even though we're late in the year, we still have new Stephen King stuff to talk about that we'll get to eventually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think what I would like I like maybe Karen, do you have any questions or something you wanted to ask Hans? Because I can ask him tons of questions. I don't want to hog the whole show.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay. Then Hans, I wanted to focus a little bit on the fact that you've actually met the man himself. You've interviewed him
Yes.
twice and you've seen
Yes.
him three times, I think,
Yes.
in
Correct.
London, Germany, and New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times people say you shouldn't meet your heroes. I'm
Mm.
wondering, after all those experiences, you obviously still are a fan, so he must have lived up to your thoughts in some way.
Yeah. Of course, you're always nervous when you meet your heroes. Would be
Hmm.
strange otherwise. But as for when I spoke to him on the phone, I was shaking when I was in my living room waiting for the call, and the phone
Sure.
rang, and he answered it, and he said, "Oh, hi, Hans. This is Steve." I almost fainted. But as we spoke, it's like almost talking to you or another friend or anything. He's very genuine, very easy to talk to. It doesn't get awkward silence or anything like that. He doesn't think he is bigger than anyone else. He's just you and me. And yeah, so he's very regular, if you can say that, in a good way. He's
Yeah.
like anyone else. He just have a gift for telling stories, so to speak. But
Yeah.
he,
Being normal comes across in his stories, I think.
yeah, he doesn't want to be looked at as a god or someone to worship or something like that. It's just like anyone. So yeah, he's definitely lived up to my expectations, definitely.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, you've done the website. What prompted you to, or and what came first? What prompted you to start doing lectures and writing books on King? Which came first, and why did you start doing that?
My first of the 6 books I counted or mentioned to you, the first 2, the book on the site and the quiz book, is I view them as history,
Okay.
and the other 4 is more like this has happened recently.
Okay.
Those 2 first books were done, and they sold, but they were very much for the US market, and yeah, the low printing and ran out of print. So they wasn't that. Of course, it's a cool thing to do a book. You can have your work physically standing in front of you, but those are more history. But those 2 were done, and it actually started here in my hometown, Örebro in Sweden, where I'm not sure what it's called in English, that volunteer group where you can meet others and speak about the subject that you like, and everybody meet once a week and speak about it and stuff like that. And we're looking for it. I think it was called the Nerd Cafe or something like that for
Okay.
nerds
All right.
in a good way.
Yep.
And they were looking for subjects
The
to
Losers Club.
bond about and talk about.
Yeah.
And I suggested to them, bring someone in to talk about Stephen King. And they suggested, hey, come in you and talk about Stephen King. So I couldn't say no to that when I had suggested it myself. So
Right.
so I did a couple of lectures for them. Another group who were connected with this group, but in a different area of Sweden, heard about this, and they booked me to do 8 lectures in 5 days in the south of Sweden. So I went there from Monday to Friday and gave 8 lectures, and thought that this was pretty cool. I think I can do this more. So I started to like libraries all around Sweden, suggesting them to hire me to do lectures. And surprisingly, a lot of them have. So I've been around mostly in Sweden. I've been in Bulgaria also doing a lecture when I released my book there, and a few other places. I was to Comic-Con last year in a panel. That was a highlight.
Yeah,
Let me tell you,
which
that
city?
was San Diego.
San Diego. Wow. That's a bit of a hike for you.
Yeah. What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was awesome. I can't. Everyone should have been to Comic-Con in San Diego at least once in their life.
At least once, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
I've done them in
It's
Toronto.
crazy.
Yeah, I've done one in Toronto, or a couple in Toronto. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of lectures and really enjoy talking to people about Stephen King. And it's all, I usually take a photo of my audience and the setting and so. And at one place, when I came home and looked at these photos, I saw that on row 3 were a teenager with pink hair. On row 4, right behind her, a lady in her 80s, gray and small. Yeah. And it was so speaking that image that these 2 people they were so different, but both were there because they liked Stephen King. And I think that is very speaking of his popularity. You can't say that this is a Stephen King fan. Everyone can be a Stephen King fan. I think that's what really makes it fun to travel around and meeting people who enjoy Stephen King's work, and you can talk to them about it and so on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the makeup of the audiences, because I was pretty sure you were going to say something like that there's a wide variety of age groups and backgrounds represented in those lectures that you do. What's the strangest question you've gotten from an audience member?
The funniest one I got was maybe not a question, but I collect books from which Stephen King has been translated into. And in one section of my lecture, I talk about the crazy collector, because you can collect everything and anything that has Stephen King's name on it.
Yeah.
And I show them a picture of my bookcase with 2 rows of books in different language. And I asked them, do you know what this is? This is my collection. Do you know what it is I collect? And one girl raised her hand and she said, you collect books that no one have the same height. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about starting a collection like that because I thought that was really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I don't get that many crazy questions.
Okay.
I get a lot of really when I say that Stephen King is writing other stuff than horror, that it's he who's written The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, Stand by Me. They look a little bit funny at me as I try to fool them into reading a horror book when
Make
it's not horror and something like that. So that's fun, and that's actually the basic why I wrote the book, not just horror. That came actually from those experiences. I feel that I wanted to tell people, even if you don't like horror, you will like Stephen King probably,
yeah.
or at
Yeah.
least a couple of his books.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Can I
sure.
ask you a question since we just talked about that your books are all different heights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be so interested to see which Stephen King books on a shelf make the New York skyline and which ones make the Chicago skyline. That would
That
be
would be fun,
awesome.
yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
like a photo album or something. That would be awesome. So I
Getting
just in my head it
That's
was
actually
like,
a good
oh,
idea. Yeah, you
gee,
could
I
actually do
wonder.
some art there.
Yeah, that
You'll have
would
to
be
put up some
cool.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Sorry, I'm so weird.
No,
No,
No, I
it's
think that was a
funny.
good idea. Yeah, I think you can run with that idea if you have the time.
There you go.
yeah, you have obviously quite the collection of Stephen King memorabilia. As you mentioned, books. You've also got like your mascot, huh,
Marvin.
for your website.
Yeah,
Tell the story behind that.
yeah. He was originally done by Glenn Shadbourne, and he did
Hmm.
it for my first book. I don't know if you have seen the cover of that, but he's on the cover.
Yep, I have
And
that book.
Cemetery Dance published that book.
Yep.
And from the beginning, he was going to be like on the pages at the top of the page, on every page, a little
Oh,
picture
okay.
of him. Yeah. But he didn't want to stay that small or insignificant. He wanted to take more space. So he took
Mm,
the front cover. And later he appeared actually on the site as well.
yep, right
And
me,
got time. Oh, sorry.
right behind me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And when it became time for the Shining in the Dark book, Vincent Chong was doing the cover,
Mm.
and we spoke about it. And Vincent Chong is a master of creating illustrations. I don't know if you
Yeah,
have
he
seen his
he he
illustrations,
did the
but they
Dark Tower
are,
comics, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. And I talked to him and I said, I want to have someone sitting at a computer in an old library, and he's turning his head, looking at you as you come into the room, and it's going to look a little bit scary. And he said, "Why? That sounds almost like Marv. Shouldn't we use him?" So we checked with Glenn if that was okay, that we took his creation and developed it, and he said, "Fine, do it." So that's how he was born, and it's been on a couple of cover and on the site like that. Yeah, so I really like him. Yeah,
Awesome, awesome.
yeah.
Jesse or Karen, you got any other questions for Hans before we start diving into the King material?
I'm sure
Have you,
other stuff will come up, but
Okay,
yeah, no, I'm good for now.
okay.
you ever been to his house? Like the outside of his house in Maine?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
there in 1998. So I traveled to Maine. Me and my wife was in the US for 4 weeks, and we traveled around. And I convinced her to go to Maine.
Of
Not
course.
everyone would have done that, I can say.
It's
Right.
So
gorgeous there.
yeah, so we went there and looked at this house, obviously outside of the gate. We didn't get inside the gate, and took some photos, of course. We visited Bet's bookstore, which was actually a physical bookstore at that time. And I think we went to the Field of Green behind this house and the Paul Bunyan statue. This was before the tour that exists
Oh,
today.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to travel around on foot by ourselves. We didn't have a car at the time.
Mm.
And so we had to travel around on our own I
It's
think we were
not
there
huge.
for 2 days. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we were there like 24 hours or something. So we
Yeah.
Right.
weren't there very long, but yeah, I've been there and it's a
It's
fantastic house.
yeah, I stayed. Okay, we took a trip in high school to New England, our choir, and we stayed in the houses of other choir students, and then they came and visited us. So it was like an exchange thing. And Bangor was one of our stops. And so my friend
Mm.
and I were like, okay, we got to go see the Stephen King house. And we walked down there, and it is amazing looking. If
Yeah.
anyone wants to see something that is just magnificently gothic, they should maybe go look around Bangor, Maine. We were high school students, so we didn't walk around Bangor and see all
Mm.
the other sites or anything, but we took pictures of the gate and all that. And one of the things we thought was that when he lived here, did he like mow the lawn? Because that would be such a weird sight to like walk by and see Stephen King out mowing his lawn. And I assume he did, but it was just cool looking. And and Maine is a gorgeous state. Anyone coming to America, if you're doing anything here where like you want to see leaves and water, and there's a bunch of things that happen up there that you can see different biomes almost. And I highly suggest like a New England tour, and Bangor has to be on one of those tours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved the house. I was hoping that you had been able to go there and see it. So
Yeah, I have. And I wish I could go again and take the tour that they have. I've heard people take it and it should be fantastic. And about him mowing the lawn, I know that people had taken that tour while he lived there and actually seen him out in the garden. And the
that's
tour
awesome.
stopped and talked to him. He doesn't live there anymore now, so it won't
Right.
happen now probably, but it has happened before. And now they had a tree on the grounds there that they have turned into a totem pole with I think it's different animals. If maybe it's Oi from the Dark Tower and stuff like
Mm.
that.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
amazing. I'd
yeah.
love to go back.
Yeah, I don't remember who did it, but someone very talented that actually turned that tree into a beautiful totem pole.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his
and
house has turned into a historical site now or something, right?
Yeah,
Or a writer's
as I
retreat?
understand it, they have moved all the documents that they had in at the uh,
University?
university. Yeah, so everything of that is stored in that house now, and you can
Mm.
actually apply for going there. It's I don't remember her name now, but has done this book that will be out in early next year in April or something like that.
Yeah, I've got that on order. I'll look it
She
up while you're talking.
spent a year there looking through materials and written a book about it. So that I'm really looking forward to. I think that book will be very interesting.
and
Wow,
I
that's
think
great.
that's where his foundation is based out of, right? Is that house? I think they moved
Mm,
his foundation there.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah,
I think so. I'm not
something like
sure,
that.
but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And that
It
that
probably is.
house,
It's his version of a presidential library, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's
And the
Carolyn
neighbor,
Hicks,
yeah, that's right.
Monsters in the
Yeah,
Archives, My Year with Stephen King.
yeah,
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
out. I don't know when that's coming out. It
I
doesn't have
think
a
it's
date.
April or something.
April
So
next year. Yeah, I've got that on
it's
pre-order.
sometime. Yeah. And the house next to his that he bought as well, I understand is now a writer's retreat where you can apply for going there for 1 or 2 or 3 weeks to just write. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool.
That's
Can you
awesome.
imagine sitting there writing, looking out the window, seeing Stephen King's house?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I would have
Nice.
to sit there and read. I'm not a writer, but man, just
Yeah.
sitting,
No.
I imagine sitting there and reading would be something special. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Alrighty. So with that, let's turn to the master himself. King has never gone away really, but he has had years where he's been much more prominent in the pop culture consciousness. I'm looking back to 2019 with Pet Cemetery, It Part 2, and Doctor Sleep. And he's had many years where he's had two books out, sometimes even three. This year he's got just the one, though if you count the Hansel and Gretel book as well, you could say that's
Mm,
two. And I've
yeah.
actually bought that, Hans, because I remember you gifted me Charlie Choo Choo because I said I'm not going to buy
Mm,
a kid's book.
yeah.
So I ended up buying it.
Yeah.
I think Jesse bought it too. Jesse?
I did. I'm pulling it right now. Here we go.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yep.
pretty good. And he makes a nice Dark Tower connection in there.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah, Ria the Coup.
Yeah.
Re-
I wish he would have done it a little bit darker.
Yeah, we're going to get
Yeah.
into that now because
Yep.
it's very interesting makeup of the show here because at the one end of the spectrum we have Jesse who is a romantic and he likes like Hallmark movies, the romance
Mm,
movies.
yeah.
And at the other end of the spectrum we've got Hans who loves the dark, gritty, gory stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
in the middle and I think Karen's with me there too.
I'm
So
in the middle, yeah.
yeah,
I
so
read a bunch of different
it's
things.
going to be interesting conversations. Let's save the book till the last because I want to end on that.
Okay.
So let's do the movies. There's four movies out this year. Three have already been released. The Monkey, The Life of Chuck, and The Long Walk. We're waiting for The Running Man, which is next month in November. So I'm looking forward to that. It looks like a lot of fun. Quickly around the table, Jesse, have you seen the first three movies? You've seen two of them, right? Or one?
Yeah. I was gonna ask, I was thinking, is this the most movies he's had out in any one year?
I
I,
think so. Yep. From what
this
I can
has
see
gotta,
here. Yeah, he's had a couple
Yeah.
of years with three, but yeah, this is the first year with four.
Yeah.
So I think you've only seen Life of Chuck, right?
yeah, I've only seen Life of Chuck.
Same for you, Karen?
Same, yeah.
Okay. And
Unfortunately.
Hans, you've seen all of the first three?
Yes.
You haven't seen The Running Man yet, though, right?
No.
Are you getting an early screening for that or
Hopefully.
hopefully? Okay.
I don't know yet, but hopefully.
All right. So let's start with you, Hans. Out of three that you've seen so far this year, which one was your favorite?
I actually have two favorites, and
Okay.
that's Life of Chuck and The Long Walk.
Okay.
I think that those two are, I would say, probably in my top four best Stephen King movies of all
Wow.
time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I really like them. They're very different from
Oh,
each
they
other.
are. Which is, and they're a perfect example of King's range.
Yeah, yeah. And when I watched Life of Chuck, it came a bit late here in Sweden, so I didn't see it before the first one in the US saw it. And I heard all these reviews that it was so good, it was the best movie ever done, and I got worried that okay, there's something fishy here. It can't
Yeah.
be so unanimous good
Yeah.
reviews.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that okay, a big reviewers have said that this is a great movie, and then you always have the followers that really doesn't dare to have their own opinion. They
Right.
hook on to the others. So I was fearing that this would be one of those. But then I saw it, and yeah, I've seen it twice.
Mhm.
One an early copy that I got, and one at the cinema. So yeah, I think that it was as good as everybody say it was. But what I've experienced, at least here in Sweden, that it divides the viewers in two. One group feels like I do, that it's a great movie, and the others really seem to understand it because
Mhm.
it's, can we spoil, or is it,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
it's talked like in backwards.
Yeah.
So when you see the first of these three segments, you really don't understand what is happening.
Oh.
So you have to see the second and almost the third as well to get the full idea of what is this.
Yeah.
And I have to say that a lot of my Swedish review fellows are lazy because they see the first part and then I don't understand this. This
Yeah.
is crap.
Yeah.
So I think that if you give it the time, you see it with open eyes and you see the entire movie, you will like it. If you just want instant reward and understanding everything from the beginning, you're not going to understand it and you're probably not going to like it. So a hard movie to watch, I think, but if you do it right, I think you will like it.
Right. Yeah, I liked it quite. I just want to double check with you. You said it's two of your top four. Would the other two be Shawshank and Green Mile? Or what are your other?
No,
Oh, okay.
I would put the other two as Geralt's Game
Okay.
and The Mist.
The Mist.
Mm.
Yeah.
Shawshank and Green Mile are definitely good movies. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, but I think those are movies where it's like an urban myth that these are the best movies out there because everybody says it. And I think they are good movies, but I don't think
Yeah.
they are the best.
But you know how I feel about Shawshank. It's my all-time favorite movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's also, he's done like, what is it, 90 movies and TV series and shows. So
Yeah. Yeah,
Same as
for
with the
sure.
books. There's something
And
for everyone.
and as in a way, Life of Chuck is somewhat like a spiritual brother, I think, to Shawshank because it's
Yeah,
about hope for the common man and whatnot.
yeah.
We all loved it. I don't think it's as good as Shawshank, but it's still a great movie, great cast. Mike Flanagan is the go-to King director right now, adapter, I
Mm.
think, and I think it shows with this and his other work. Doctor Sleep was fantastic as well, especially
Yeah.
the director's cut. I really love that movie. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I guess because of the immense footprint of The Shining, I just think a lot of people had trouble overcoming that when they watched Doctor Sleep. But
Actually, for me, I'm not a big fan of The Shining,
yeah.
but after seeing Doctor Sleep, I actually like The Shining better.
I'm the same. I'm the
Mm.
If that
same.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Because I think it does a better job of humanizing the Jack Nicholson's Jack Torrance character. So,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Uh,
I don't think that Kubrick was a great fit for Stephen King. I
no.
just
No.
don't think
They
so.
have, yeah, they have their own different visions. There's
Yeah,
not much overlap between the two. So it's surprising that Kubrick even decided to adapt that book in the first place.
It's a good Kubrick movie, but it's a bad King movie.
Yeah, I agree.
correct.
I agree.
Yeah.
Jesse and Karen. Karen, do you have anything you want to add about Life of Chuck? And then I'll go to Jesse.
It's just an amazing movie and it's so underrated. I don't think it got the attention it deserved. And I do think it's a lot to do with that kind of short attention span thing where
Mm.
people are like, I gotta get hooked right away. And I think science fiction aficionados, lovers, we're already taught how to watch things. And seeing something like a Memento or Life of Chuck or things that are like out of time, for us, it's easy peasy to watch something like that. But I think the normal, I don't read. There's a lot of people that are like, ugh, reading, ugh. And
Mm.
I think they just don't have the attention span to watch something like that. And I think if anyone had sat and watched it to at least the second part, they already would have been hooked. And so I wonder if anything could have been done to hook those people. I'm not sure it could have. I think it's almost a perfect layout of that story. But yeah, I think it's a shame that it just didn't get as much attention. It really should have been like an Academy Award nominated movie. To me, at least, I think so.
Have the nominations come out yet?
I don't know.
I don't know
I
because
hope.
I'm curious to see what happens there because I know like it won the People's Choice Award at the Toronto International Film Festival, and there is a split. Some people don't like it. Some find it too schmaltzy. Others love it. So it'll be interesting to see if it makes the ballot for the best movie of the year. I think it's going to be like The Shawshank. It's going to become more popular over time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I
we'll
think,
Shawshank
see.
you
wasn't
know,
that popular when it
when it
premiered at
came
the
out,
cinemas either.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I think the Academy, we know what they're going to like already. To be honest, it's going to be something that they think that they're up their own butts. I hate to put it that way, but they might not even like the movies that they nominate, but they're like, oh, this is one I need to nominate.
yeah,
It's got a formula.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not thinking it's going to get a lot of awards. I would love for it to, but I think it's more underrated than Shawshank, which got a couple nominations. Didn't win much. Did it
No,
win anything
didn't
here?
win anything.
Yeah,
No, no.
yeah. So yeah, I don't have a lot of hope, but I think it should be. I really do. It's not one of those big bombastic action movies. It's not a super schmaltzy movie. It's emotional. It's not over the top, like crazy. I'm dying of cancer. I understand that movies like that, but what's the movie where, okay, I don't remember it, but like a mother's dying of cancer and she and her mother reconnect and it has
Yeah,
Shirley MacLaine in it. I'm sorry, I can't remember the movie. But
Terms of
terms of
endearment.
endearment, yeah. So that's like over the top kind
mm,
of tragedy movies. And I think this one is just, it doesn't fit into any of those like solid tragedy, comedy, horror. It doesn't fit into any of those niches. And I think that's the strength of the movie is that it could appeal to anybody who likes any of those things.
yeah.
For the Academy, they ignore movies like this, quieter movies. So Again,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I got off on a
that's
little
okay.
rant.
Like I said, I'm curious to see. I can't wait to see the nomination list for because the only thing I think it has a shot at is best movie, but we'll have to see. Jesse,
Yeah.
you want to add anything to Life of Chuck?
Yeah, I love the movie, and I had shared that when I first read the short story, I didn't care for it. I didn't understand it and was, okay, go to the next one. And that's some of the beauty of a collection of short stories. Some hit, some don't. But I knew we were going to talk about it, and they know this, but Hans, I was on a plane and it was one of the options. So I watched it, and that was really good because you couldn't get distracted. You couldn't pick up your phone and scroll. You couldn't, and I loved it. I loved it, and then went back and read the short story, loved the short story. This is it, I don't want to say a hard movie, but it is a difficult movie because you're setting up that there's this science fiction, the world is ending story, and you don't get an explanation why, you don't get a reason, and you end mid story. And then the second part is such a moment of life, a moment of happiness, a moment of joy that is absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, you get the origin story. So it is told in that order. And I agree with Karen. I think rewatching this, where you can understand, oh, now I know what's going on, you'll enjoy it even more. I think that the Academy will reward clever filmmaking. I think they will reward it as in that this is something different, but they don't give awards to different, but they give them at least the nod.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm pulling for Deliver Me from Nowhere to sweep the Academy Awards, but I'm a little biased.
That's a
Yeah.
Bruce
Yeah, that's
movie.
the Bruce Springsteen
Springsteen
film that's
movie.
coming
Yeah,
out this week.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
No offense, but good luck there.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
I'm putting it right now.
Okay.
It's going to get a lot of
It's
nominations.
going to sweep. Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know if it'll sweep, but it's going to get nominated a
Okay.
lot.
Alrighty. So that's Life of Chuck. Now the next movie, which is prominently displayed, and for those of you that can't see us because we're on the audio, is The Long Walk. Hans is between the legs.
Yeah.
And this movie is at the other end of the spectrum as far as King material goes. It was very early King. The story has it that he actually wrote this before he wrote Carrie, but he put it aside and finished Carrie first. This is a very dystopic, not specific future world where America has gone through some war, whether it's civil or global, we don't know, but the country's been decimated and everybody's poor, and they have this lottery for all these states. In the book, it was 100 walkers. In the movie, it's the one for each state. And whoever walks the longest wins the big ticket and gets whatever wish they want granted. It's a pretty grim setting for a movie. And I think they got the right people behind the camera. Lawrence, his last name's escaping me, the guy that did all the Hunger Game movies, directed this movie, and I thought he did a fantastic job of what is a pretty difficult movie to film because it's basically a bunch of people walking.
Yeah.
And they don't use a lot of flashbacks, but the ones that they do are very effective. And I think the strength of this movie for me is the cast. I think they just nailed the characters and brought them all to life. And I just thought it was, I can't say it's a movie I'll want to watch every year kind of thing, but maybe once in a while. But Hans, your thoughts on The Long Walk?
Yeah. About seeing it once a year, I have already seen it twice in the cinema.
Ah,
Yeah. The book, The Long Walk, has been a favorite of mine for a very long time, and it's probably the book I've read most times of King's. So I really liked it, and I was quite nervous when I watched the movie because, as you say, they are walking. How can you
mhm,
make a good movie about people walking?
mhm.
And I think it's almost about 2 hours long as well. So I was worried about that, but I think that they kept true to the story. They kept true to the feeling of the book.
Yep.
They made some changes. There were only 50 boys instead of 100, which I
Yep.
think was good because it would be a lot of killings that
Yeah.
would have to be done.
Change the ending, but we'll keep that as a spoiler. I don't want to talk about that
Yeah.
too much.
They
Which they had
this
to for
is
this, I think.
yeah. They switched some of the characters out, gave plot stories to another character because the original wasn't in there and stuff like that. But I think that all those were minor details. So I think they really did a good job with keeping the tone of the story. And as Lou said, I like dark. And I
Hence the
mean,
myth.
revealing, sorry?
Hence that's why you got the mist up near the top.
Yeah, I love that ending, by the way. And you have this contest where they're go walking, and they know when they start that one is going to survive and the rest is going to die. And one of the key moments in the movie, I think it's the first kill.
Yes,
Because up
absolutely.
until then, they go talking, laughing, having quite good time. And as one of them say later in the movie also is that they don't really understand what they're doing. They don't understand that they're going to die. But when the first kill happens, you can see that, and here's where the good acting really works. Because they
Yes.
really see that, holy moly, this is really this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Only one of us is going to survive and the rest is going to die.
Yeah.
So
And they picked a really good actor for that first kill because it was the kid from
Yeah.
Jojo Rabbit. And he's got that youthful curly hair, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, naive air about him. And so to see that what happens to him was just like, whoa.
Yeah. And without spoiling the ending, the first time I saw it, I thought, why did they do these changes?
Yeah.
The second time I saw it, I felt, yeah, that's why they did these changes and they actually work.
Yeah.
So I actually liked the movie better the second time I saw it. If I could change something, I would change two things.
Okay.
One is that I would add the twins or siblings. I don't remember if they're twins or sibling. I think that's a really grim thing that you and your sibling enter the same race when you know that only one is going to survive. That's really dark and horrible.
Right.
But that's not in the movie. And one other thing that I would change is that one of the guys, Peter McReese, the actor who plays him, never looks really tired. They sweat and their shirts change color and they stumble but he looks fresh almost all the time.
Yeah.
I think they should have wore him out a little bit more so that he looked a little more tired and worn out.
Yeah, Cooper Hoffman, they did a good job making him look tired, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the contrast between him and I don't remember what his real name is, but the actor who plays Peter McReese.
David Johnson.
Since they're going side by side. So you really see that he's like a dish rag that they twisted, and the other one is fresh like a new squeezed orange juice almost.
Yeah.
So I think that, but small things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think the scenes that with Cooper Hoffman's character's mother, played by Judy Greer, wow, those really pulled on my heartstrings. You just couldn't help but to get emotional about it. I think my favorite moment in the movie, though, was actually because it is funny at times too, which is surprising for this type of movie. But I think my favorite thing is because Mark Hamill, who plays the Colonel, and he wears sunglasses the whole movie, but he's constantly barking out these, "You guys are great, you got a lot of sack, blah blah." And he does it one time, and one of the guys say, "Will you shut the fuck up?" I just couldn't stop laughing because he said what we were all feeling at that point in the movie, right? Because his character, the Colonel, is so one note, right? It was just like that was so funny, and they don't shy away from the violence, but they also address bodily functions. You can't stop, right? So what are you going to do?
And I think that's one of the strengths with the movie.
Yeah, they don't pull any punches. Yeah.
No, it feels real. You're out there with them walking, and when they realize that, crap, only one of us is going to survive.
Yeah, I can't wait till
it's horrible.
Yeah, I can't wait until Jesse watches it, if he ever does, for his reaction to it, because I don't think it's his cup of tea at all.
Yeah, it's a perfect segue. I will probably only watch the movie because we'll probably talk about it. If it was up to me, I would have no interest in watching this whatsoever. I didn't watch Adolescence when you guys were going to talk about it.
Yeah.
It was just too idea. I can't turn my brain off on the logic of this.
Okay.
It like the Hunger Game is is no choice. If they said every family who sends a son gets a $20,000 payout to contribute. Okay, then I'm doing this, even though I know the odds are I'm going to die. At least I'm doing something for my family. You are dying for nothing. You are dying for no reason whatsoever. And only an idiot would be cocky enough to think that I'm going to survive. So it makes no sense to me at all as a movie. And so not only is it depressing, but there's no logic to it. It makes no sense why anyone would fall. And you guys just talked about they don't realize, oh, I could die? Yes, this is televised, I
Yep.
assume, right?
Yes, it
So
is.
everyone knows what it is. I could see the first year this is happening, maybe someone else, but the next year it's no, to you, fuck you, I'm not going. So that's, I don't know, maybe because I hated the novel for that very reason. And unless someone can tell me how the movie addresses it, it just explain it to me.
Okay. Hans, you
It's
want to take a shot?
actually addressed in the movie.
Okay.
The thing is that the setting, of course, is that everyone's poor, they don't have anything, and winning this will change their life. But they also talk about it that been going on, everyone is sending in these applications for this. So they say that everyone thinks they do it of free will, but it's more you do this. Everyone send in their application, and it's just one person from each state that can participate in the long walk. So I imagine hundreds of boys get no. So I think that in that situation where everyone has nothing and everyone is doing this, when I saw the movie, at first I was like, how hard can it be to walk? I'm fairly healthy. I could probably walk for a long time. I think it's easy to get in this mindset where you think that, why can't I win this?
Yeah.
And the pressure of everyone else sending in these applications, they are like, what are they, 15 years old or something like that? So they're very impressible. And and they think that this is not going to happen to them. Yeah. They can win this. It's if you have a smoker, every smoker knows they're going to die of smoking almost, but it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
It's a difference, I know, but I think it's the same. I think it's the same thing, if this makes sense.
No, I don't understand that, but I realize that's, if you don't buy that, you don't buy the film.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, I can't get past that.
Yeah, you have a couple of things to remember. This story was written like in the late 70s. So King was very inspired by the Vietnam War, where there was a draft and nobody could get out of it unless they had medical conditions.
Yeah.
And what they do in the movie is they make it very clear that America, living in America in that world, is everybody's dirt poor.
Yeah.
Your prospects are grim. Like you don't have any, no matter how talented or smart you are, you're not going to rise above whatever station you are in life. This long walk is the only thing that offers any glimmer of hope to these people. And that's why, and the government controls everything. So they're brainwashing everybody into thinking that this is a good thing as well, right? Because this is a totalitarian regime that's in control right now. So there's all these factors, plus a lot of these teenagers, when you're that age, you feel invincible. You don't think you're going to die. You've got your whole life ahead of you. There's an aspect of naivety to it as well. So you still have to roll with it a little bit. It's the hardest ask, I think, of the movie. But if you just say, okay, I can hand wave that, then what happens from there is well worth the journey.
Okay.
Hopefully that will, if you ever work up the nerve to see it, that will give it to you.
I've seen little bits and pieces of it here and there, more than just like a trailer or whatever. And I think, what's his name? Cooper Hoffman.
Yep.
He's the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman. And I think he actually got that talent. I think he's gonna go on to things. And from what I've seen, I want to see this so bad. It's at the drive-in here, and we were going to go see it, but then our car broke down, so we couldn't do that either.
No, it's a perfect
Um,
drive-in movie, by the way.
yeah, I would assume so. And you pay for two movies.
Okay.
So you get to see two movies, and the other one was another horror movie.
Oh, they should
So
have
I
did
think
with
we were
Life of
just,
Chuck.
I wish they're all first run there.
Yeah,
So it was one of the horror movies that's out now, which you have to get there or you don't get a spot. So you have
right.
to sit through both movies. And I think we would have just sat there and eaten our dinner or something
Yeah.
because I'm not a big fan of like slasher films. They have to have a story. And I think it would have been worth it to see The Long Walk. Before they put this other movie with it, it was showing twice in a row
Oh, wow.
on the same screen. So we probably would have gone and watched the first one and then come home. But I'm like, I might have talked my husband into watching
Yeah.
it twice.
Mm.
So yeah, I really wanted to go see it. It would have been this last weekend, and our car doesn't go backwards anymore.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a no-no. We can't really do that.
Right.
Number one, we can't back out of our spot. It would have made things very difficult. We might rent a car. It's still playing there, so we might
Yeah.
rent a car and go see it.
Yeah. The
I
one thing
just,
I would
I just
add.
want to say one thing there. I would love to go to drive-in movie. We don't have that. It
Oh, okay.
sounds
We have
so
one.
cool.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
big cities usually have one like throwback drive-in
Yeah.
theater.
We've done it a couple times. It's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I went when I was a kid. I saw Star Wars at a drive-in movie. And Herbie. Herbie the Love Bug.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I was thrilled that my parents wanted to see Star Wars, so we went to Star Wars. But yeah, I've heard this one is amazing. They have food that you can get, it comes out to your car
Yeah.
instead of going to the little concession stand and everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, I
Ooh, that
really
does
want to
sound
go.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, the last thing I want to mention about this movie is I went to it with my son when I saw it in the theater. And so he didn't know anything about the story. He's never read the story. He doesn't read Stephen King, but he watched the trailer. He said, "Okay, I'm interested." And so we went and saw it. And I said, "So what do you think?" And he said the most tense thing for me, he says, is when they would focus on the lead actors. He said, but then you're looking around them and all the other characters, and you would see some of them would start to flag and fall behind a little bit. And then I was always waiting for the next gunshot, and so
Mhm.
that's what he found really effective. And then of course there's the really effective scene when they're at night when they have to go up this big hill, and
Mm.
oh man, that was really
Mm.
well filmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really well done. Alrighty, so anything else, Hans, you want to say about The Long Walk before we move on?
Watch it.
Watch it. You
Yeah.
hear that, Jesse? Watch it.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam wants you.
You should come here and we'll go to the drive-in together.
Wow, that would
And watch it.
be fun.
All right. So there's one movie left, The Monkey, which was directed by Osgood Perkins, who's the son of Anthony Perkins. And
Hmm.
the Stephen King short story is a pretty straight up horror story. Perkins took it in a different direction. It's kind of one of those adaptations like the original Running Man to me. It's got the same title, but it bears little resemblance to the original story. So he turns it into a dark black comedy, and the kills are over the top. I personally didn't really think it was a very good movie. I don't know what Hans, who likes the gore, maybe he liked it more than I did. What do you think of The Monkey?
I hated it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. I wrote in my review that I was probably 40 years too old and 10 beers too sober for it. Yeah, I think it was a terrible movie.
Yeah,
As you
I
say,
agree.
it's over the top and it has almost nothing to do with the King's story.
Yeah.
And yeah, it went from over the top to ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was really a miss.
Yeah, same here. It's like the
Yeah.
recent remake of the Pet Cemetery. Just thought it missed it,
Yeah,
it didn't capture any of the tone or the purpose of the King's story. And frankly, for those type of kill scenes, I think the Final Destination movies do a way better job of those
Yeah.
Rube Goldberg types of series of events happening. In fact, we watched the last Final Destination, and I think that if you've never seen it, there's like a prologue that happens in this mini CN Tower airport lounge thing. And man, oh man, that first 20 minutes of that movie, that was intense. That was really well done.
I haven't seen the most recent one.
Yeah, it's really well
Um,
done. You would like it, Hans.
I
Yeah.
saw the one before that, and I thought that was genius.
Yeah, this one's really good
The
too.
ending of that one. So I'll have
Yeah,
to watch it.
yeah. All right, so that leaves us with one movie coming up in November, The Running Man. Already made once as a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that totally was a different adaptation. And this one looks to be closer to the original story. I'm not sure how close, and I definitely don't think they're going to go with the same ending
No.
because that's just too much of a raw wound still for the world, I think, to even attempt that. And Edgar Winter has a certain comic sensibility that I don't think works for everybody, but I've got to admit, at least so far from what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be at the very least a fun movie. Hans, what are your thoughts on The Running Man?
Yeah, I when I saw the last trailer, I thought, as you said, that it's going to be a fun movie. That will probably be my problem with it because if you read the book, it's quite dark,
Yeah,
and I this one sounds like it's going to be quite a few one-liners.
yeah,
Arnold in Terminator, I'll be back, and stuff like that.
yeah,
And I don't really want those parts in this movie. So I think this will be somewhere in between. I'm not sure
yeah,
yet, but my hopes went down a little bit with the last trailer for it, actually.
yeah,
We'll see.
Oh,
yeah. Same here.
But
You
it
like it
can't be
dark.
worse than Arnold Schwarzenegger's version of it, I think.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
All right, so let's turn to TV. This year there was two series, The Institute and Welcome to Derry. The Institute has finished its run. It was a summer series and had eight episodes, and I thought it was a decent adaptation of source material. It's not outstanding. It's not terrible. It's the middle of the road. I think the strength of the series is the actor that played, is Ben Cross, I think is his name. I think that he carried the show for me. I thought generally the kids were okay. They weren't terrible, which with kid actors is always it's hard to do. But yeah, I thought it was a fairly decent adaptation. It took the story potentially in a different direction than I thought. If I don't know if they're having a season two, I think that's still up in the air, but they set it up for potentially a second season anyhow. But
it said they renewed it.
oh, did
Oh.
it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
renewed for a second. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So Jesse, sorry, Hans, your thoughts on the Institute?
I feel about the same as you. It's a mediocre series. It's good, but it's not very good, and it's not bad, and it's not very bad.
Yeah.
One that I watched it, I enjoyed it watching it. Probably won't rewatch it. I
Right.
think I think the cast were we had a couple of doctors and orderlies that were a little bit too much. I think they
Mm.
overplayed it,
A
and
lot of character actors.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they went a little bit over the top. Some of the actors weren't that good at
Mm.
their job. But I think overall, it's something you should watch definitely, and I enjoyed it. But as I said, I watched it once and will probably not watch it again. And I wish they wouldn't do a season two. I think they
Mm.
will spread it and it will turn into something like Under the Dome season three or whatever it was that has nothing to
Let's
do
not
with
go
the source
there.
material.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah. So I
I
think they
did an
should have
Under
done a
the
season
Dome.
two.
I did an Under the Dome podcast.
Oh, did you?
Mm,
And yeah, the second and third seasons, we were hate watching it.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And that was the joy of our listeners. They were like, we love hearing you hate watch it. It was just terrible. The first season was good, but man,
Mm,
those second two seasons were a slog.
Yeah.
I'll
yeah.
say that. But yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to
No problem.
interrupt.
You might as well continue, Karen. What do you think of the Institute?
I thought it was really good.
Have you
Number
read the
one,
book?
I didn't. I like Ben Barnes a lot. He played Tim.
Okay, Ben Barnes. That's who I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. And the kid who played Luke, I thought was good as well. Joe Freeman is his name. I'm looking at a list
Yeah.
of it.
He had like a ADHD look about him.
Yeah, he did. And I think that kind of
Intentional.
led,
Yeah.
it's almost like an autistic
Yeah.
approach to that character, I think, where he's focused and he has that one thing and everything else is just noise. And I thought he played that well. I thought some of the side actors were definitely over the top. I thought Stackhouse was crazy. The guy who played the doctor? I
Mm.
can't, is that Robert? Yeah, Robert Joy. He's been in a couple other Stephen King things, and I thought he did well, but I was like, this guy, he's a doctor, and I understand that he doesn't like the Hippocratic Oath and that he's done all this other stuff, but I didn't really believe him. I didn't believe his motivations as much, and I think that's an actor's choice type thing. And I hated Mary Louise Parker in it. I I
And she's a
didn't
big
get
name actor
her.
in it too.
Oh yeah, I think she's the biggest name.
Yeah, for
Although
sure.
Ben Barnes, you might not realize that he's been in a bunch of things. He was in Game of Thrones and
Yeah.
T-Mobile commercials, but T-Mobile commercials is what I know him from, believe
Oh,
it or
okay.
not. And I've seen him in other stuff too, but I was like, oh yeah, the T-Mobile guy. But I thought Mary Louise Parker just was not great in it. I understand you're not supposed to like her character, but as Han said earlier, you have to like your villain a little bit. You have to at least understand their motivation, understand what they are, and be like, yeah, I get that. I understand. He or she is the hero, as we say often, the hero in their own story. And I think that character was meant to be that. And I didn't see that until that very end where she's really more impassioned about it. Before then, she was just like, yeah, whatever. It just seemed like she was really lackadaisical, very not invested in anything. And so she was my big sticking point there. I enjoyed a lot of the townspeople. I, and it was gutting to see some of the choices they made on who dies. And that I expect that with the Stephen King book is that you're not going to like that some people die.
Right.
So yeah, like the police captain, and I'm not going to spoil any other deaths, but I enjoyed it. Like I said, I binged it last night and it wasn't hard to watch at
Yeah.
all. It was definitely an easy binge watch. So if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you dig in, and I think it's worth a watch. I don't know that I'm ever going to watch it again, and I might watch the second season of it because they did really hammer home that they're setting up a second season there at the end. And
Yep.
from what I see, it's not the same ending as the book at all. There are similarities, but there's definitely some things, some big things that are changed from the book ending. And I thought to myself, after looking at what the book is, how are they going to do this to set up a second season? And it's just that they changed one really big thing about the ending. And I think that's going to be the crux of next season. But it's one of those things that, like, oh, if I see it and I don't have a lot of other things to watch or read or whatever, I'll watch it, at least out of curiosity. But I thought this was a good series, and that if they had really stuck that landing, like the book, I think it would have been a little better, more impactful. But I thought the kids were good. I didn't have a problem with any of them. I thought their acting was good for kids. We tend to forgive kids a little bit when they act. Oh, it's just a kid. But I think we've been lucky watching a lot of things. Bly Manor, those kids were amazing.
Yep.
I think these kids were above par. They
And
were
The Haunting
good
of Hill House.
actors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think they're the same level as that, to be honest. But I think they did a lot of good things with their acting choices. I think they were good. I liked it. And like I said, it's not going to be like a re-binge for me, but it was easy to watch, and I think it was worth a watch.
Very good. Jesse.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I did not have a problem with Mary Louise Parker. I loved her in West Wing. I gave up on Weeds. Weeds was just got too weird for me. But I just recently rewatched West Wing and really like her character in that. And so I was happy to see her playing a little bit of a change. And I thought the performance of this, yay, it's graduation day, but you could just tell she doesn't really mean it. And a couple of things when she just has this cold-heartedness to her that she just tries to put just this facade on. I liked her a lot. I was really glad I was watching this going, I hope something really bad happens to Tony. This guy is a
Oh
son of
yeah.
a bitch. And
Yeah.
when they were
Oh
able to do that to them, I went, yes, yes. I also have the advantage of I didn't read the book.
Mm.
So I went into this clean, knew nothing. I did think of when they started talking about the back half, I thought of Ender's Game,
yeah.
where that, and for those of you who haven't read Ender's Game, the whole idea is children are playing video games, but they're really not video games. They're actually uh,
Or
in a
Yeah.
war.
yeah.
So I thought of that going, I bet you that's what this means when they say they're watching movies.
Mm.
Um, and I thought it also gave me enough to think about the idea of you're killing children, I'm saving the world. Both can be true, and would not, I would be in Tim's side. No, I
Mm.
don't care what's going to happen right now. There's this child that we have to protect. Luke Ellis, who played Joe Freeman, who played Luke, according to IMDb, he's only done one other thing. So he is not your typical handsome leading man kid. He looks a little dorky, and I thought he was just really so. I tend to, because there's so much out there to watch,
Mm.
I very seldom rewatch anything to begin with.
Mm.
I watch and move on. And then,
Yeah.
like last night, after I finished The Institute, I started The Diplomat season 3. And I was like, in a better world, I would rewatch Diplomat season 1 and season 2 to be ready for 3. But no, I watched a 2-minute recap to make, nope, hadn't forgotten anything. Go. So yeah, and I think this goes, you mentioned this a minute, Lou, where, the different areas of, how different we are in a scale.
Yeah.
I want something where there's hope and someone wins.
Yeah.
The good guys win.
Yeah.
And in this, at least the start, and I love the ending. I
Mm.
have a plan. You're lying. It's
Mm.
not quite as good as Casablanca's. This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, but it's a nice line. And yeah, I think if you had not had a second season, this would have been really nice.
Mm.
I will watch the second season and give it a try just because I'm interested in the story. And I will end up buying the Institute and throwing it on my Kindle and read it sooner or later, and then might go, oh, now I understand why they didn't care for it as much.
I
Yeah.
have to say it's very Holocaust coded.
Okay.
At the beginning, even they show like a bunch of shoes. And I've been to the Holocaust Museum in DC twice, and it is
Yeah.
so hard to go there, but they have an actual wall of shoes that you walk by. And that I was like, oh, okay. And someone who maybe hasn't seen anything like the museum or read about it, they might
Yeah.
not get those connections. But doctors experimenting on kids, and then
Yeah.
putting them in the oven. The oven was crazy weird.
Yeah. That
Um,
was, and the way they just nonchalantly just, yep, we're just doing our work. And
Mhm.
yep,
when at the end, when they're talking about can we make gas, there
right.
the
Yep.
allusions to Nazi Germany were so strong there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were.
So yeah, I like I said, this was good for me. I was happy that, and once again, I don't have MGM Plus. This would have just been one I missed, but I did the free 7-day trial, and I'm glad we got to watch it.
Awesome.
I
Alrighty.
did some sailing on the open seas for it.
There you go.
Yes.
Our matey. Okay, we still have one more series coming up next month. Welcome to Derry, season 1. And this is a prequel to the It stories, and we're going to get into more of the background of Pennywise and his other incarnations. It's also going to cover some stuff from the Black Spot, which was an incident in the that was mentioned in the It novels. They're also bringing in what's the character's name with The Shining? I'm drawing a blank. Help me out, Hans.
Halloran.
Pardon me?
Halloran.
Halloran, Dick Halloran, yes.
Yeah.
I'm always leery with prequels. I think some things are also left better to the viewer's imagination or the reader's imagination, because usually the execution of any of that kind of stuff never lives up to what you've pictured in your mind. It looks like they're putting a decent amount of money into it. They're expanding it. There Pennywise is going to make a return appearance, so it'll be interesting just to watch from that perspective. But I'm a little leery of this series. I don't really think it's necessary. I don't know how you feel about it, Hans.
To be honest, I have actually seen the first 5 episodes.
Okay. See, that's why we want you
Uh,
on. This is the kind of
yeah,
Mhm.
stuff. Yes. And
I I'm really not allowed to reveal anything
Sure.
what it's about, but
thumbs up or down?
I think it's like this right now.
Mm,
Okay.
It's interesting, but it's quite complicated because
Yeah.
the plan is to have 3 seasons.
Okay.
They're telling the story like backwards. So this one is happening in the 60s. Then
Okay.
they will have one that's in the 30s, I think, and then one that's in the early 90s.
Okay.
So they're going backwards to finding out the origin of Pennywise. But yeah, I'm enjoying it and I'm looking forward to the last 3 episodes. Yeah,
So you won't see the last three until it airs, or
I don't know yet.
you
Hopefully
don't know?
earlier. But
Yeah, I would say so. That's the one of the things when they give you like an early preview and you only get like half the
yeah,
season, and then you have to wait till the regular air date to get the back half of the season. That's got to be
yeah, yeah.
frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. Jesse, any thoughts on seeing more about where Pennywise came from?
So it's one of the Stephen King books I've never reread. I remember I was reading it and I can't remember. It felt like it was the middle of the night, but I know it was late when I finished it because the ending, right, where you're going through both timelines at the
Yeah.
same time, and then you're like, I finish it wide awake. I can't go to sleep now. And I certainly remember the original miniseries,
Yeah.
but I didn't care. I didn't watch the movies. I just didn't care to
Hmm.
see it that much. So, yeah, this is one. There's so much out there to watch. I don't have an interest in, I didn't care that much. I
Hmm.
enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the original miniseries. I didn't need another making of that, though I've been told it's absolutely brilliant.
The first
But
movie is, yeah.
yeah, I just don't need that scare. And yeah, I'll once again, unless we decide ending up talking about it, I've got too much other stuff to watch.
I got to write all these down. So Jesse's going to watch The Mist, the first bit.
is he gonna
Yeah,
watch The Mist?
I don't know. We'll
I've
see.
never seen The
Yeah,
Mist.
Yeah.
you
Okay.
should.
Yeah, okay.
You should just
Yeah.
prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to see what that's not a good thing when you have to say
I have to prepare
prepare
myself.
this is not a selling point.
Okay.
It
Karen,
should
you
be.
you got any thoughts on seeing more Pennywise?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I like Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. I think he did a great job in the movies, and I love Bill Hader. So it was easy for me to watch the second movie. He plays the main character in the second movie. I'm trying to think if he's the main character, but
Well, there's a Losers Club, so there's three or four
right,
main
all of
characters.
yeah. He was great, I thought, and I think I'd love anything he's in, to be honest.
Okay.
And not because I think he's hot, Lou.
Which he
There's
is.
that. He's cute. I wouldn't say he's hot, but I do like some of the cast that's going to be in this Welcome to Derry. I like Chris Chalk a lot, and he's going to play Halloran, and he was also in Gotham, and I thought he really did a great job in that movie. I think there's a few people, Madeline Stowe's in it as well. James Remar is going to be in it. So I do think that there's quite a few actors in it that are gonna help carry it if it's not great. Again, don't tell me anything, Hans, but that's what I'm hoping, at least. So yeah, I'll be watching it.
Alrighty. So actually a light calendar for Stephen King shows this year, but still pretty amazing that we're getting two series based on his material. So we'll have to see how the Welcome to Derry series plays out. I've got my fingers crossed that it's okay, but like I said, I'm not a big fan of prequel stuff, so we'll have to see how that goes. Alrighty, so we come to the last category, which is books. Before we touch the Never Flinch, which we've all read, which is will be good to talk about, I just had to mention that there was another book released that now, although not written by King, it was inspired by Stephen King and was based on The Stand. And that is the anthology collection, The End of the World as We Know It, which of course is a Ramones song. And that book has a anthology format and it has a lot of writers playing in the Stand sandbox, I guess you could say. And I haven't finished it yet. I'm about halfway through it, so I can't give a complete review on it. I don't know, Hans, have you read the whole thing?
Actually, I have not
Okay.
read it, and I feel that while there's a lot of authors in that book, some of them I've never heard of, some of them I've heard a lot of, and those I've heard of are all great authors. But I don't really like when someone else is in and doing things in Stephen King's world, other than Stephen King, if that makes sense. I'm tempted to call it fan fiction, but based on the authors that's in it, I don't want to be disrespectful to them because they are great authors, nothing about that. But I think that Stephen King should write about his stories, and yeah, that's my feeling about it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you there because while I've read, like I've said, I've read half the book and like there are some big names in here. Robert Cargill, Brian Keene, and Christopher Golden edited, but surprisingly they didn't contribute to it. Richard Chismar, Bev Vincent, who of course we know, Tim Levin, Joe R. Lansdale, Josh Mallerman, the list goes on. There's quite a few writers in here. I have to say, it's what I was just saying about the prequel thing. There's these stories take place in the Stand universe, but they're not really the Stand story, which is the driving force of that narrative and why I think it's probably King's most popular book, or I think it's between that and it for a lot of King constant readers. And the writing is fine, and some of the stories are actually pretty good, but and they're clear about it. They're just using the Stand as a launching pad. So I can't really say that I'm blown away by it. It's like any anthology. Some stories are good, some are like, eh. But it's an interesting experiment. But I think the main thing to take away from it is it's just the power of the footprint of Stephen King that this kind of project could even get greenlit and printed. It's a curiosity piece, I think, for diehard King fans. I'm really surprised that Hans hasn't read it because he is a diehard King fan. That's going to be like a your Achilles heel if you ever get asked questions about it at a lecture. So you might
Yeah,
have to
it
do
is.
something about
Yeah.
that. But I just wanted to mention it in case anybody out there who is a big Stan fan wants to read the book. Yeah, it's out there and I think it's worth a read. So you might want to check that out.
They are
Um,
actually planning on doing a similar one for The Shining.
are they? Oh, okay. This might be the start of a new trend that I'm not sure I'm happy about. We'll have to see.
So, of course, because it's been a whole 20 minutes and I haven't mentioned Bruce Springsteen, there is a book, there is a song on Darkness on the Edge of Town or Born to Run called Meeting Across the River. And it is a very film noir kind of song that Bruce did. And there was a collection a few years ago of short stories based on that song and different people taking that. And so if you guys have about 4 minutes, go listen to the song, and then you can imagine why it leaves enough that it would be pretty fertile ground to because it's vague enough and everything to go, oh, these different stories. So I think it's a cool thing to do. I like themed anthologies, whether it's 8 days of Hanukkah or Christmas or things that are going set in that universe. And
Right.
I think you said it just depends on some of the stories are going to work, some of the stories aren't
Mm.
and go. But yeah, and I do think Hans fan fiction in a way that we're not being condescending.
Yeah.
It's playing in that sandbox.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, an interesting concept that I think it's cool they're doing with that. I there are I could think there would be Stephen King stories that I would like to read set in different universes. We'll see. And
Mm.
once again, I think it's the beauty of this is you can take it, you can leave it. And just if you want to spend more time in that world, how cool is it?
If you want different universes, then you should read The Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's the whole universe there. And that leads us into the actual book that King released this year, which was Never Flinch, another Holly Gibney story. At this stage of his career, I think it's fair to say that his continuing fascination with the Holly Gibney character is divisive with some readers. They want him to go back to the more horror-driven books that he's used to write. I think at this stage of his career, I think the feeling he has is he's covered pretty well all the horror tropes that there are to be covered. So for him to come up with something new would be difficult. There's two books that we'll talk about after this one that will, at least one of them will hopefully cover that for a lot of people, but we'll see. Never Flinch. We did a podcast about it. We were all pretty happy with it. Wouldn't say it was one of his best books, wouldn't say it was one of his worst, but I think we all said that we liked Holly better. I think that was a better story because it was more confined than the criminals were better drawn out and they were just creepier. Hans, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on Never Flinch?
Yeah, I think it's a middle book. It's not in my top. It's not one of the least I like, the one I like least. I think this is one of those books that I read and put in the bookcase and probably won't reread for quite some time. I think he put too much in it. There were too many storylines in it, too much happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think it got a bit confusing with all these things happening at the same time. I'm one of those who actually Holly. I think she's a good character, but I think also that he has written a little bit too much about her now. So I would prefer if he let her have a holiday. And I didn't really I wasn't gripped by this book. As you mentioned, speaking of Holly books, I think the book Holly is actually one of his better in later time. I really liked that professor couple.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good book. This one is a little too much in the same book, and also I think he gave Holly a little too. She was too good at doing the things you do. You had an entire police force after these people, and they couldn't do it, and she did it like in an afternoon between tea and supper. So I think he gave her a little bit too much power in a confusing book, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Karen, what do you think? What were your quick thoughts on Never Flinch?
Yeah, I liked it. I also love Holly as a character. I did think this was more of like a detective novel than Holly was. Holly was definitely, it had that supernatural side in it. And they were that old couple, man. They are the definition of complicated
Yeah.
villains.
Yeah.
And there there really wasn't that in Never Flinch. I think it was a good read, but I loved Holly and I liked Never Flinch. I'll put it that way. I am great with more Holly books, to be honest. I personally, I'd rather he do another fantasy, and that might be divisive, I don't know, but I loved fairy tale. And I love it when authors step out of their norm and do a good job with it. And I
Mhm.
think he did a really good job with fantasy. So I would love to see that more. But I do know he's got a little bit more Holly coming up, or at least he's talked about doing more Holly stories. So I look forward to that. I would like if he went back to the supernatural because all the other Holly things had that big supernatural element in it. She's seen everything right now. And I would love for her not to go. It was almost like I'm tired of all that. I just want a detective job. And then nothing bad happened. I could see where she would be like, I don't want to deal with any of that anymore. I just want a detective thing happening. And then something supernatural happening, I think would have been a great twist to that. So yeah, as a detective story, I thought it was great. I would have loved to see something more surprising in it, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. As we'll discuss in a couple of minutes, I think most of your wishes are going to come true. But
Awesome.
before we get to that, Jesse, your quick thoughts on
Yeah,
Never Flinch.
I think you said it really well. Holly was, I think, a lot better book. It
Mm.
had a better villain.
Better focus.
Yeah, focus. This one, I think it was certainly good, and I like that he has decided to do a reoccurring character that
Mhm.
this late in his career there, and I realize the Dark Tire has this, it's a whole series, but the idea of his own version of Matthew Scudder or Bernie the burglar or other detectives that
Mhm.
you have the same things. I like that idea. I like the character. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I like the supporting cast involved with Holly's kind of friends and
Mhm.
her extended family, and it helps the characters grown. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I agree with Karen. I love Fairy Tale, and if he wanted to do another huge epic that where he did a little something different, I don't think he'll ever do a big family drama expanded generational story, but I think it would be awful cool if he wanted to do his version of that kind of a story. But I
Mm.
think it's cool. And we talked early that he's talking about retiring. And I think the beauty of being a writer is it's okay if he wants to just take some time off. And then when the muse hits him, he'll surprise people and they'll show, wow, he still has his fastball, which is, I
Mhm.
think, cool.
I
Yeah,
just
I
also,
think also, if I can just
yeah, go ahead.
Please.
I think people say that they want another horror novel, and I think that King isn't deciding to write a horror novel or a detective novel or whatever. I think he gets a good idea and he runs with that
Hmm.
idea, and if it is horror, it becomes horror. If it's not, it becomes something else. So I don't think he sits down and says to himself, "Okay, now I'm gonna write a really scary book." I think it's the
I,
story, and whatever the story and the idea is, that's the book.
I think that is one of the best things that we've all said today is you come up with a story idea and then the story puts it in what genre I want to tell. Now, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you can tell, Hans. Did he sit down with Fairy Tale and he challenged himself like, hey, could I do a fairy tale? Or did he just start writing and then go, wow, holy crap, I'm doing a fairy tale?
I don't know for sure, but I think he did plan a little bit about this.
Yeah,
I don't think it just happened.
yeah.
He
Okay,
has too much reference to other things, so I think he probably
okay,
looked a bit up and stuff like
okay,
that. So my guess would be that it was planned.
okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Also, just wanted to quickly mention before we get on to what's in the coming for King in the future, as we also briefly mentioned it before we started the show, was the Hansel and Gretel hardcover fairy tale book that he did in collaboration with Maurice Sendak, who is famous for the Where the Wild Things Are illustrations. And it's an interesting curiosity, like his Charlie the Choo Choo book. The illustrations are fantastic, and King sneaks in a Dark Tower reference with making the witch Rhea Coos, who's from the Dark Tower series. So I thought it was pretty cool, and yeah, it'd be a good gift for the younger ones in your family. Don't you think, Hans?
Yeah, definitely. My kids are too big
Yeah.
for the story, I think. But yeah, I think so. My only wish would have been maybe that he would have made it even darker and maybe changed it a little bit more. Right now, it really doesn't differ that much from the original, except as you mentioned, the witch's name and a
Mhm.
little, maybe the language is a little bit more modern.
Yeah.
But I could have seen him changing some stuff and still keep the story, but maybe developed some scenes, making them a little longer or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, if you do a cover of a song, you don't want the same song. You want something different.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you
Yeah.
can just listen to the original. And I think
Yeah.
it could have been more different.
Yeah.
I think King would be perfect to do some more fairy tales, to be honest, because fairy tales are very dark. If you look at the original versions of fairy tales, wow, they're not Disney. I'll
Mhm.
say that right now.
Mm.
The Little Mermaid is so incredibly dark. And I think it would be cool to see him take some of those original stories and base a story. That would be great, I think,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
see something like that. So I love that he's stepping into that, and to collaborate with Maurice Sendak is, I think it's brilliant. Some of the illustrations are gorgeous. So he's got that very sketchy kind of illustration that it's just so Maurice Sendak. There's no one else that draws like him. And when you're writing a book that is where the wild things are, it's not a ha-ha kind of book. You can get a little scared by it. And I think him pairing with Stephen King, that's great. I don't have anything against exposing kids to a little darkness, because as they grow up, they're going to learn that things can get pretty dark in life. I would love to see him do maybe a couple children's books that are a little darker. So I think that's an incredible pairing.
All right. As I alluded to just a couple of minutes ago, Karen, you were talking about fantasy. We do know that King has two books in the works. In a recent interview he did for USA Today last Thursday, October the 16th, he mentioned that he's working on the third Talisman book, which is the one of the big pieces of unfinished business that King has left on his plate. So we're all very happy to hear that. And unfortunately, his collaborator, Peter Straub, another fantastic writer, passed away in 2022. So he's going to be writing this one solo. But Hans, why don't you give us all the deets about the third Talisman book?
Yeah, it's been in the works for a long time. I knew Peter a little bit, so we exchanged emails from time to time, and I know they wanted to do the book. And at the end of before he passed, he made some interviews, and it sounded like he had given up on the idea because he didn't think he could keep up with Stephen King and how fast he was writing. But apparently he did write down some thoughts and ideas for the third book that he sent to King before he passed. So he has taken those ideas and his own and tried to written this book as if it was written by him and Peter, and tried to use a little bit of Peter's vocabulary and style and mix it up. So hopefully it will be like the first two books, that you can still feel that Peter is present in the book. And hopefully we finally get the conclusion of Jack's journey. We have been waiting for a very long time for
Yeah.
this, so I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, this has been talked about since the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the second book came at 2011. No, 2001, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been like 24 years. So
Yeah.
that's a really long time. And I think the gap between the first and the second was like 17 years or something like that. So yeah, it's about time we get that one now.
Yeah. Black House came
Yeah.
out in 2001. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the hopeful thing with this is that there will be some Dark Tower connections, because we've always
Yeah.
believed that the stories taking place in the Talisman series were connected to the Dark Tower series, to the Midworld in some way. So hopefully that will happen as well. So that gets your fantasy wish addressed, Karen. So that's good. And the other book that he's working on, is, as we've mentioned, is it's going to be another Holly book. And the exciting thing about this is what, Hans?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
I am. It has something to do with the previous Holly book, The
Uh,
Outsider.
yeah, sorry.
No problem. I should have set you up better. Sorry.
No problem. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get to see the outsider again. And we know that she has met the outsider or different outsiders several times.
Yeah.
So
Was a story in Let It Bleed
yeah.
series. Yep.
So this sounds like it's going to be something supernatural in this one. Yeah, and as I said, I'm interested to see what's happening here, but I also think that he's overusing Holly a little bit now. Is it of the last 4, 5 books, 3 of them have been Holly books or something like that? And as much as I like her, I think you can wear out a character, and I think he's balancing on doing that right now. A lot of people are saying that they won't read a new Holly book, and a lot of people say that they will just buy it and put it in the bookcase because they want every book, but they won't read it, which I really don't understand. I do.
Boy, you're showing him, aren't you? Thanks for
Yeah.
giving me that money. And yeah, God, that
That's kind of like with
so
Bruce, right? After a certain point in his career.
yeah, so we have a shorthand at my house. My son is a huge WWE sports entertainment, quote unquote, professional wrestling fan. And people are constantly complaining about storylines or stuff or this sucks. And there are a section of Bruce Springsteen fans that think everything he's done really since 70, like maybe The River, right? In
Hmm.
80 was his last great album, or maybe Nebraska. They just, in everything he does, there's a box set coming out about Nebraska, and they delayed it by a week. We talked about this last week, and people were complaining about that it was delayed a week. And so we call them WWE Bruce fans that just bitch about everything
Yeah.
instead of being happy. And it is, I hate to be morbid, but what would people give for a new Prince album?
Yeah.
Because we no longer have
Mhm.
a new
Yeah.
John Lennon album,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Robert Parker novel, or
Peter
someone that
Straub.
yeah, Peter Straub,
Mhm.
right? And so you're uh, an artist is the only thing an artist owes us is to give what he thinks is the story, the music, the art he feels like he should make. That's all they owe us. And if you like it, great. If you don't, great. I'm not saying you have to, oh, everything Bruce does is genius, because there are some things that I don't care for as much. But
Wait a
I,
minute. What?
yeah, yes,
That's a
I know.
confession.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Seeger sessions and Ghost of Tom Joad are two albums that I don't particularly care for. But and so I just the idea, and I love that, Hans. Okay, I'm gonna buy it because I'm a completist, but by God, you can't make me read it.
Yeah.
What a waste.
That money
Yeah.
spends the same way on King's End, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
He
You know,
spends that money just the same as any other money he gets.
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm also like this. What's the worst that can happen? You spend a few hours reading a book. It's not like you are gonna have to sell your own kid or something like that. The worst thing that happens is that, oh, I read this book or I saw this movie, it sucked. Okay,
Yeah,
move
and
on.
I think Tommy Knockers was the first book of his that I didn't finish. I
Mm.
was reading it and I'm like, I just don't care for this book. And instead of making myself finish it, I went, you're allowed to close the book and
Yeah.
put it on the shelf and get, and I didn't care for this one. Maybe in another time I'll be in a different mood and
Yeah.
I could read it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gave it a try.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not
Eh,
a fan of this. I will hate it before it comes out.
Yeah.
There's a horrible culture around that. And I feel if you think you're going to hate it,
Yeah.
great. Why do I have to hear about it? And it's so pervasive that if you're on a Stephen King fan site or something, you see it. And I'll give Reddit as an example because can be a cesspit sometimes. But if you have Stephen King in your feed, you're going to see people complaining about stuff. You
Yeah.
can't avoid it. I feel like saying, okay, you wouldn't be happy either way. If he didn't write another Holly book, you'd wonder why he didn't.
Yeah. There
And
would
now
be
he's
someone who
writing.
complained. Yeah.
Exactly. Here's my little Bruce Springsteen thing. World of Warcraft. They are doing a trilogy right now where a story goes across three expansions. And the next one is coming out probably at the beginning of next year called Midnight. And everyone is complaining about it already. And they haven't even seen they've showed us a tiny bit of what's going to happen in it, and they're already complaining that this system's going to be bad. The way I spend my talents, okay, you don't know. So shut up about it. If you don't like the game, stop playing. And it's just my opinion that I super hate that. And again, it's me saying I hate something that is people hating things. But I can't stand people that are boohoo naysayers either way. They'll complain if they don't come out with it early next year, and that they'll complain that they came out with it too fast. It's a horrible culture we have where people just share their opinions. And I feel like sometimes there's people that hate things just to hate things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't take a lot of stock in people that are like, I don't want another Holly book. They're going to buy it. They're probably going to read it anyway.
Yeah.
To me, I'm thrilled because I do that character. I'd be okay if he finished it and even killed her off. I'd be okay with that because that's an MO.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
She's not destined to live a horribly long life. I don't think.
If naysayers find out about that, then they will probably read the book.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's drop that as a
You
hint.
should call it the death of Holly, and then
Yeah,
don't
the death of Holly.
Yeah.
Holly's
And don't kill her at the end.
Holly's
Yeah.
final case
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could take in more Holly content.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him do other stuff too, because he is so diverse and he has been throughout his whole career. Even horror, his horror stuff had different facets to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had romance in one and family dynamics in another and loving animals in an there's so many different things he put into those books.
Yeah.
Being bullied. So they're stories, they're rounded out stories. And so
And all the great stories are love stories.
Yeah.
that's what I keep saying. Every story has a
King
romance.
has those in most of his books.
Yeah.
Every genre has romance in it. Yeah.
And I know we need to wrap up, but one other thing is I just posted something on my Facebook page that, as we talked about, this coming up, they're releasing a new book, a new movie based on Bruce Springsteen making the album Nebraska. And I said, please don't go in there with your notebook. Let me find everything they got wrong.
Yeah.
It's a movie, not a documentary. Now,
Yeah.
being what we are, there absolutely are going to be nitpicks that you're going to catch, but just don't let that distract you from they got this wrong, they got this wrong, and it's sad.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Star Wars fandom is a huge example of that.
Yeah.
They're so fickle. They hate everything. They love everything. And personally to me, and we've talked about this on the Castle fandom, on the Castle podcast we did, you can't ask a creator to do something that you want. That's not their job to listen to what you want and absolutely do it every time. They might take that on board. That's
Yeah.
up to them. But let them have their vision. And if you like that author, movie maker, TV maker, whatever, you'll probably like it. Let them guide
Yeah.
you. If you don't like it, wait for the next one.
Yeah.
It makes me crazy. I know Stephen King has that element in his fandom as well. They're,
Anybody
they're
that's
in
been around for as long as he has, or Bruce
Yeah.
has,
Oh,
they
yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
With the good news of these two new books, though, and he's made this announcement before, but he also said that he's going to retire. I love the way he put it, though. I'm trying to clear my desk as much as I can. At my age, you're off the warranty. You can't take anything for granted.
Yes.
I love that. I do hope that he, obviously, these two books come out, and as a fan, a selfish fan, I still would like one last kick at the can at a straight out horror novel from him. I don't think he'll do it, but to bring in another fan base that I've talked about occasionally is the band Rush, Canadian band. They're going to be touring again next year with a new drummer. So the 50 something tour in 2026, and it will be interesting to see how they perform their songs. I sure hope they don't do acoustic versions of their songs, because I don't think anybody's going to be happy about that. But it's sobering that King, because Hans and I, we talked about on the podcast, about the Stephen King podcast, that we want that third Talisman book. And it looks like King is going to be able to fulfill that wish for us. And that Do I want more King? Absolutely, but if he gets that Talisman 3 book out, then I can't really complain. Like he's answered almost everything that I've wanted him to do and more.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that, Hans?
Yeah, I don't think he will retire. Not from writing. I think he
Mm,
has to write or he'll go crazy.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree with that.
yeah, he might retire from publishing,
yeah,
but I don't think he will retire from writing. I think he will keep on writing. I think he will release less and less books. We've been spoiled by
yes,
getting 2 books a year. I
yeah,
don't think we will anymore. I think we will get 1 book a year for some years, and then it might be every second year, every third year, or something like that. But I think he
hmm
will keep on writing, but maybe be a little bit more strict with what he publish. If he
yeah,
doesn't think it's up to the standard, it might go into a drawer, and we'll see what happened with that after he is gone. You never know. But I think he's slowing down. He is getting old. So it's not strange in any way, I
no,
think.
no,
And but I think he needs to write. I would be very surprised if he said that, okay, I have not written a new book in 2 years. I don't think that will happen.
yeah,
So I think he will keep on writing, but slower and maybe not publish as much.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Um, the positive thing that came out of that interview, though, is that they mentioned Joe Hill, his son, who writes in a very similar vein as his dad, and he has a new book coming out soon, King Sorrow, which Hans has already read and liked, and we can look forward to him the passing of the baton from father to son, and I think that Joe Hill could very well scratch that itch, that Stephen King itch that his father created for such a long time. So I look forward to that as well. I had to laugh when Joe said that he's a force, man, talking about his dad. My dad sneezes and he pulls out the tissue and goes, "Oh look, oh wow, look, there's a novel there."
Mm.
I think that was pretty
Yeah.
funny. All good things come to an end. I had to live with the end of the original cast of Star Trek no longer being able to do movies. So I've been around this block before. It's just a part of life, man.
It is.
It's the wheel of Ka.
And
Yeah.
that's why you should
Treasure.
treasure
Yep.
that when you get new books, when you get new music, when you get new art, just treasure it. And because there's going to be a time when we're not going to get that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty fantastic that we got to be here at the same time as Stephen King.
That's right.
Mm.
Yes.
I
That
agree.
Absolutely.
that is a shirt that the Springsteen community has, that of all the times, of all the worlds, I'm lucky enough to be here when that Bruce, and so now that's what I want. I want Bruce and Steven to work on something together. There
That
we
was
go.
Would be,
That would be
Sure.
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
That would be great.
but
Him
well,
adapting a book.
yeah,
Yeah.
but and we talked about this recently too, Jesse, and I always love that story about the Springsteen and King were having dinner together, and this young girl came up to the table, and Bruce was getting ready to sign the autograph, and then she said, "Oh no, I want Stephen King's autograph." I love that story.
I
Yeah.
love that story too.
I had that exact experience where I was at a dinner. Coretta Scott King was there and Bob Hope was there. Okay, that's the
Wow.
weirdest combination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were supporting a Senator Peller at the time.
Okay.
And so I was walking up to talk to Coretta Scott King and get her autograph. And Bob Hope was like, "Do you want an autograph, little girl?" And I was like, "Not really, but sure."
Yeah.
So I have this horrible impression of Bob Hope, but Coretta Scott King was amazing, by the way. But yeah,
Cool.
I had that same kind of thing happen to me. That's so weird that
Yeah.
you want you can't judge by a book by its cover on who you like. When I was in high school, I read Stephen King, and a girl reading Stephen King in high school when I went to high school in the early to mid 80s, that was different.
Mhm.
Definitely. We didn't
Yeah.
read science fiction. Girls didn't read that kind
Yeah.
of book. We read The Babysitter's Club and ugh. I was reading John Irving in middle school. And being a fan for so long, I feel like it's rewarding, and that living in the time that I can read Stephen King books, I can see TV shows and movies, that we get so much content from someone I love is a gift. As Jesse said, it's a real gift
Absolutely.
to have something like that. So
Right.
yeah, I love it.
Awesome. So with that, Hans, I'll give the final floor to you. Is there anything that you want to mention that hasn't come up during the course of the podcast?
Yeah, I think we have covered most of it. Hopefully, I will have some surprises during next year,
Awesome.
celebrating 30 years.
Okay.
I know I will have a contest with a great prize that I just found out I will
Oh,
be
cool.
able to obtain. So, yeah,
Awesome.
check out the site
All
during next
right.
year.
Yeah. So
Hopefully, it
we'll,
will be a lot of
Amazing.
yeah. So,
celebration and fun
yeah.
things.
So when you get your 30th anniversary, you'll have to come on the King podcast. We'll
Yes,
just reminisce
Yes.
about things.
please.
Sure.
And I think that's all I got. Jesse, Karen, anything else you wanted to ask Hans before we let him go?
Can,
No,
can I ask everyone? I know this is dumb and it probably won't get answered for reals, but do you have a absolute favorite Stephen King book?
It's hard to pick just one, but I
Hmm.
would probably pick The Long Walk.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
okay. That's
Yeah.
great.
I would say The Stand.
Okay.
A
That
predictable.
boy, that
Yeah.
you can use that as a doorstop. And I'm not saying don't read it, but it is huge.
Especially if you get the
Yeah.
complete edition,
Yeah, yeah.
the uncut edition. Yeah.
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 That came out when I was working in a bookstore and it was
Hmm.
brilliant to see all the people line up for that. So how about
Right.
you, Jesse?
I think if I had to push, it would either be Fairy Tale or Dead Zone. And if I had to just pick one, I think Dead Zone, because of the I did not know what I was getting into, and
Right,
because I had
right.
such a resistance that it's like your first doctor, right? Doctor Who, usually the first doctor you watch is the one you love. So yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a real life doctor.
No,
Oh
Doctor Who.
no, Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I
But
had to
Fairy
pick
Tale would
one,
be close.
Fairy
Yeah.
Tale's good, yeah. I know you guys will hate me for it most likely, but I love 11/22/63.
Oh, that's a very good book.
Ooh,
Yeah.
damn
Yeah,
it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into the time travel thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that fascinated me. It also had romance in it. I think it had almost everything I like in a book.
Yeah.
So to me,
yeah.
I think that might be my favorite. I've read it twice now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great
that
ending.
is a
No,
great
it's
book.
that I love the stories where there's a victory, but it comes at a cost.
and it
That's,
was very bittersweet.
yes, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
All right, Hans, we're going to do some cleanup business here. So if you want to bow out now, feel free to do so. I want to thank you for
Well,
taking the time to do this.
Yeah.
before I do, Hans, if someone wants more information, plug the website, plug the books, and where to reach you if they have questions.
The website is liljadefenselibrary.com. I'm present at Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, everywhere but TikTok. I don't do
Okay.
TikTok videos,
Okay.
but I'm out there. Just search Lilja's Library and you will find me. And I'm happy to talk Stephen King, so just get in touch.
All right. Will do.
I'd love to have you back
Yeah.
personally.
Careful
So,
what you wish for.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had to stand with me for 6 years.
Oh, that was an awesome time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
I'll be happy to be back.
Okay, awesome.
cool.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Hans. You enjoy the rest of your night. You probably have to go to
Yeah.
bed and go to work, right?
Soon, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, okay, man. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Alrighty, so there you go. There's a blast from the past. Hans Lilja from Lilja's Library, and I thought that was a fantastic episode. I hope everybody else out there will agree. And as we wrap it up, Jesse, where can people find you?
You can find me at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter, AKX, Jesse Jackson on Facebook. And to hate to sound like a broken record, but if you go to Set Lusting Bruce, there is an interview with Warren Zane, who is the guy who wrote the book Deliver Me from Nowhere, that the new movie Deliver Me from Nowhere is based on. He talked, and there is some amazing stories about how he was involved with making the movie, how he interacted with Bruce, and there are some really funny stories about it. So I'm really proud of that interview. Whether you're a Bruce fan or not, check it out, because if you're going to go see the movie, even when you're going to see it on streaming, it's a hilarious. He's got some really insightful, funny stories.
Awesome. Karen.
Can I, before we go into me, Lilja is spelled Lilja.
Yep.
For anyone that's wondering, make sure you spell it that way. and you'll find it. But I am at Aleveria, Aleveria, on social media sites. And my blog is alistuff.com. And I'm Aleveria1705 if you want to hit me up on WoW.
Okay.
That's my battle tag.
Okay. Very cool.
I know that's dumb. That was just a funny aside, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's good. All right, and you can find me at obviously this YouTube channel, JKL Media Reviews, as well as on my own channel, Lou's Reviews, where I have my writers' interviews and Stephen King podcasts. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at lou.w.sitsma. And with that, the balcony is closed. Take
Wait a
care,
minute.
everyone.
Wait, we start The Expanse next week, right?
Oh, yes, and we're going
Do
to be
we want
starting
to?
this.
Okay, yeah. I
and
thought
we're
we might want to.
Yeah, we might start that promo. Very
Yeah.
good. Thanks for reminding me, Jesse. Yes, we're going to start our series review of The Expanse starting next week. Are you available next week? I can't remember.
I think so. I'll
Okay.
double check.
Anyhow,
Yeah,
our next
yeah.
installment will be The Expanse, episode 1, season 1.
Yes.
Okay. And with that, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yay. That
And
was a long one, but God, that was good.
yep.
Boy,
And
that